Take two.
Notes.
Video games. They're cool.
It's like, it's what you think of when you're a kid. Around that age, middle school. That's all you ever did.
I think middle school for a lot of us was a super integral part of like learning what video games we were all like really about, because like, you know, we all kind of played a lot of the same stuff in elementary school.
Yeah.
So it was all GameCube at that point.
Yeah, or like Game Boy SP, Nintendo DS for me.
Yeah.
Things like that.
A little bit of Xbox.
A little bit. Yeah, I had a tiny bit.
So actually, that was a goddamn lie. None of us played the same thing you did in elementary school.
I feel like the main reason I played so many video games in middle school, I'm sure many people think the same thing, to escape. Because, oh my god.
Fuck middle school.
What we're trying to talk about is like, okay, what games would you want to play again for the very first time? Almost that nostalgic feeling, and also good ass game, but sometimes could not be a good game. I'm pretty sure I listed pretty fucking good games, but there's probably some certain games.
One or two that we chose 5 each. It's gonna be 5 games that we wish we could play again for the first time. So number 5 coming up. I'm a few deep in. The first game I remember playing, and that is, for many of my generation, this one makes this is no surprise, but Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Masterpiece. You know, it shows its age in spots, but overall, the game's a fucking. What makes me want to go back? Because I was about 4, I think it was 4 or 5 when I played it for the first time. I watched my brothers play it. I've never beaten it also, but I watched all my brothers beat it. I remember just us sitting around one day, and they just like handed me the controller, and they were just like, "Start your own game," and I was like, "What the fuck?"
It's like that's the biggest. That's everything you've ever wanted to hear.
They just hand down the sword, and they're just like slaying monsters.
What you didn't know is they bought a GameCube and didn't tell you.
What makes me want to replay that for the first time is the music in that game. Music in that game is
incredible,
beautiful. It just every theme, every beat, every note feels like some sort of nostalgic memory, is some sort of friend you think of, as some sort of like time in your life. And I remember the soundtrack more than the actual gameplay. Like, holy shit, it's so good.
The music in that game is incredibly nostalgic. And I still think, I said it before, y'all never saw it. But when it comes to like video games and Nintendo music and shit like that, when we listen to lo-fi beats or city pop music that we hear now,
it's all from fucking Nintendo.
Yeah, like Nintendo took all of that shit.
Oh yeah.
From city pop at least, but lo-fi, they take it from Nintendo.
Yeah.
It's that nostalgic, that progression. You know, the 2-5-1 major 6. You know what I'm talking about? My favorite song from it ever is the Fairy Fountain song.
Oh my god.
It's the best one, which is also a Tatsuro Yamashita song.
It's also when it's got Pooh.
Yeah, it is.
But even like when you fucking first go into Ganondorf's castle and he's playing the organ and just that.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
And then, or even in the child timeline when you have that weird, really quick face off with Ganondorf when Impa's running off of Zell, and there's a no. That's what you think about, just like a villain. So yeah, it's like I barely remember playing much of the game, but what I do remember in the game, one of the first games I said it before, y'all didn't see it. As it was one of the first games where I felt like a sense of belonging with a race of fictional people. I always thought the Zoras were so fucking cool. I was like, oh, fucking cool fish, water, elf people. That's badass. They look really sleek. They look really just regal. But then you meet the Zoras in the game, and they're absolute pricks. They're so mean. And little 5-6-year-old me was like,
I like that.
In the child timeline, when you beat the first dungeon for the Gorons, and they make you like a blood brother, and they give you the bracers, and like the Gorons are just so nice to you, and that's why like to this day with Breath of the Wild and Hyrule Warriors, I have a hard on for the Gorons, man. They were just so nice to me.
You grew up in a hard house.
I didn't. I hate the word gamer. Anyone who calls
I'm
himself
a
a
fucking
gamer.
gamer. Get this, dude. Light. Daylight savings time's fucked. Okay. My number 5. Ugh, I already know it. I don't even need to look at it. Portal 2. Portal 2 is my number 5.
Never beat it.
When I played it so much, and I think my favorite part about it was the puzzles were amazing, but it was so dark and eerie. It's hard to explain. It's like there's someone watching you the whole time, but you don't see anyone. And then you just start finding the depths of Aperture Laboratory. And like, some of the puzzles are kind of hard. I mean, now to me they're not as hard, but I mean, still sometimes if I go back and play, like there's some fucking weird ass. Like it does make you think. You can't be hammered drunk and play that game and like actually figure the puzzles out. Like I don't think.
Are you trying to say I can't play it right now?
The music is incredible. The ambiance, how creepy some of it is.
What was
like,
creepy about Aperture from both games was just how like overly sterile it was. Like just like how like inhumanly, like no human can keep a lab that clean, and that's what made it so creepy.
Yeah.
Number 4, gotta bring it up to first GameCube game I ever played, Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker. An argument could be made Ocarina of Time is the better game, but Wind Waker's tied for my favorite Zelda game. It's also one of the only ones I ever beat. We got a GameCube and
Wind Waker.
I forget, it was either my brother's birthday or I was smitten. It was just a true like epic fantasy legend being told in this game, and then I finally was able to start my own game. That same file, I left it dormant for years. I didn't beat it for the first time until last year. That was a really cool memory. I stayed up till like 2 a.m. doing that. But it's a marriage of the music and the gameplay. Just the gameplay is just crisp. The Z targeting is on point.
The sailing.
Like the sailing.
I love the way the water looks.
Oh god, it's so beautiful. Dragon Rouge Island is a banger. It's so good. And just it was like I still can't hear certain themes from Wind Waker without crying. It's so good. And Ganondorf is terrifying, but then when you find Hyrule when it's underwater, it is just like magical, but it's also like melancholy because like, oh, but like fucking Hyrule's fucked.
Yeah.
And that game is just, it's one of the best Zelda stories, hands down. And I want like that level of storytelling back in Zelda games, even though I love all of them. So like, Wind Waker is my number 4.
When I'm walking around town, I just want Dragon Rouge Island to be the song to just follow me around, and then maybe I'll have a good day. I'm just walking into like the bank, and they're like, "You're in debt."
You're just like,
that's fine. I guess my number 4. I'm actually gonna switch this one.
Ooh, different
up for you.
Oh, I haven't even heard this one
today. Halo Reach. Classic. The amount of time I played with the boys. With Ethan. The boy. Spent countless hours. Xbox Live back in the day. And we just like build stuff in Forge or play competitive like shit like, you know, what is it? Death matches or like Slayer, whatever. Slayer. Yeah. It was like team death matches. Or wait, no, that's just.
It was just Team Slayer.
Teams. Customization.
Intricate, and then it was just like once you earned those credits, it was just like go ham, kid.
Yeah, and you can change all the colors of everything.
Customizations.
Yeah, I love that. That was like everyone, and then they just took it all away. Why? Let me just pour this on your fucking floor.
We would just call it Halo Barbie Girl, and we would just spend hours just customizing our armor once we hit new milestones. After we would just play Firefight for hours.
Forge
was badass.
We would just build our little bases and be like, alright, now let's fucking kill each other. Royce. Also, the campaign is amazing. It's underrated. I remember people
I think it's the best Halo campaign.
What's your,
Number 3?
Yeah, what's your number? Well, no, your number... Or wait.
I did 4.
Shit.
I'm gonna murder your whole family. We're getting drunk versus video game.
How are we gonna play D&D tonight?
Oh, shit! Number
really
3
drunk.
is... Skyrim.
That's my number 3.
Oh, for real?
Let's just say why. You go. You start first. We'll go.
Skyrim broke boundaries for me as a middle schooler about what I could do in a game. Because growing up on Zelda games, there was this wide, and Fable, you had these wide, massive worlds. But in the actual game, there was like hard limits, hard boundaries of the game. You couldn't go past a certain point.
Very linear.
It took me like 2 or 3 months of gameplay to find one of the borders of the map. And like you, with enough finessing, you could glitch your way up a mountain. Like you could climb any mountain in that game.
Part of me thinks that there is probably a couple dungeons in Skyrim I just haven't seen.
Oh yeah, 3 versions of the fucking game.
Definitely one of my.
It's one of the first ones I lost my life to.
Yeah, I was 8th grade.
I was hard.
Done for.
Just getting up early in 8th grade just to play it before school. Christmas 2011, 360, Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, Skyrim, Magical Christmas. Skyrim pushed the boundaries of what you could do. It's like, oh, armor, make your own. Okay, weapons, make your own.
Yep.
Okay, enchant them yourself. Kill everything. Climb up any mountain.
The amount of times I assassinated shit in that game. Like, I used to just murder people.
Just big money-making scheme. Steal all these silverware and cups from Dragon's Reach back in vanilla before they patched it.
That was like the Iron Dagger or Steel Dagger, and they patched that.
They didn't patch that for a minute. Leather bracers, Iron Daggers.
Yeah, and you just do that. I got my smithing to just 100
in like one day. Like it was beautiful.
The one thing that I haven't done in Skyrim, I've played it a million times. I have never gotten into alchemy. The biggest nostalgic trip for me, that first time putting the disc in, night release at the GameStop, the giant Dovahkiin statue, and it was a Thursday night. I had school the next day all night, and I did not go to school. And my dad went to work and didn't know. And then my mom found out and got really pissed. But
6 of us who were all just like, what'd you do in Skyrim today? Like, it was like we were all just like, we were just kind of like this like Skyrim fan club, and so it was just
that game really did shit. It really did change shit.
Skyrim influenced the development of Breath of the Wild.
All right, so number 2, you want to go?
Yeah. The Mass Effect trilogy.
Ooh, that's one of mine. That's one of mine.
The Mass Effect trilogy is one of the greatest works of science fiction ever created. They're some of the most detailed and most story-driven, but in like a really one of the most character-driven game franchises I've ever played. And I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite game on the Citadel. Holy shit!
It's one of the best RPGs, and like Mass Effect 2 is so good.
Mass Effect 2 might be tied for my favorite game of all time. 3 with the DLC,
3
with the DLC all the DLC is equal to 2. But 2
I also think that 3 got way.
3 got way too much hate.
Yeah, and it's like unfair. Like it is honestly like sad.
I agree. I call it Dark Knight Rises syndrome.
Yeah.
Where it's better than every other game that came out that year, but it wasn't as good as 1 and 2. So remember when Dark Knight Rises came out, everyone's talking about how it sucked. It's like, no, Dark Knight Rises is one of the best comic book movies ever made.
Yeah.
But like the fact that it wasn't Dark Knight is why we all were so hard on it for so long.
I can't wait to romance Tali for the 15th time.
I've always found Matt creepy. She's like your little sister.
No, she isn't, man. She's old. She's not. You can't romance her in the first one. Second one, she's old.
I actually used stock Shepard. I just liked the way he looked.
Yeah, I always use stock Shepard because if you modify him, he looks fucking dirty as hell.
Shepard, Garrus, Rex. 2, Shepard, Garrus, Grunt. You don't get Rex back in the main campaign. You don't get Grunt back. So I think it was me. It was Shepard, Garrus, and I think who was the Prothean guy in 3? In the Citadel DLC, when I got to use Rex again, emotions in me when I got to have Shepard, Garrus, and Rex again.
Dude, that DLC is incredible.
Also, bullshit that it was DLC. Javik.
Yeah.
Javik was my boy.
That's kind of bullshit that was DLC.
Because
he was meant to be in the whole game.
Because the first time I played through 3 was without it. And then I played with it, and I was like,
why?
It was like, he's so seamlessly put in there. I was meant to be in this fucking game.
My number 2 is a game you probably never played. Pokemon Diamond. Absolute.
I played like one Pokemon game.
Classic. But this was like the first time I like beat a game, like fully wrecked, like destroy. I beat the fuck out of this game. Like it was And that was like insane to me. It's your first time like really playing through an entire game. I can't. I don't know what else to say. It's like
That's
that.
kind of all you got.
Yeah.
In my day, they had manual.
It was like 4 years ago. All right.
Number one, Halo
I need a
2.
second.
Halo 2 is my number one.
I already know this. I've heard him talk about
Is-
this even not on camera.
Halo 2 is a perfect game.
Yeah.
Halo 2. We didn't own an Xbox growing up, but my sister's boyfriend at the time was also friends with my brother, and so he would bring his Xbox over, and so I, as the youngest sibling, allowed to play Halo 2 with all the high schoolers.
You want to hear something funny? Really? I had an Xbox. It was one of my first OG consoles. I never owned Halo 2. I never owned it. I never owned Halo 2 or 1. I never owned those
I'll
games.
end your entire book.
I know it.
Halo 2's story is not Shakespeare. It's not but it's one of my favorite early 2000s action movies.
Oh yeah.
The Arbiter missions are just like stoic and atmospheric and slower than the boom bang bang of the Master Chief missions. There was a minute. Said sister's ex-boyfriend, he just like left us the Xbox for like 2 months. So I remember I beat in like elementary school. I was beating Halo 2 on heroic, and like I never beat it on legendary, but I think I've beaten Halo 2 more times than any other game. I think it's the tightest Halo multiplayer. When they remastered it for the fucking Master Chief Collection, I was so happy. It's one of the first games I remember playing where it's like, you are just here for a communal experience to just have fun.
Yeah.
I was never good at Smash Brothers. I was never good at Mario Kart. I was never fucking good at Zelda. As like a 6, 7, 8-year-old, I was good at Halo 2. Wow, I'm like a big defender of fucking Destiny to this day. I still fucking play Destiny 2. It's because like Halo 2 and Halo Reach, at a certain point, they were the prototypes of Destiny. And they're just such solidified, concentrated Bungie. Yeah, Halo 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, and I wish I could play it again for the first time. It's my number one.
My number one is it's Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Mass Effect,
Yeah.
the entire
Perfect.
trilogy again.
Perfect trilogy. So
I shout out. There was a summer. There was 2 summers. There was a summer where I played it with Daniel. Our
shout out
friend,
again to Daniel,
our friend,
our DM.
our DM, who we very much love. Me and him beat the entire game together. He had a big CRTV and then a small flat screen TV. The CRTV on a school desk in his room. He's homeschooled, so they had like desks, and we just shoved it into the corner, and then we played back to back. I played on the shittier TV because I was the guest. That game, like, we already talked about the lore, and like, it's incredible, but something about the time when I first played that game and really saw what it was, like this story.
The way that you can Paragon your way out of the first half of the boss battle in the first game.
Yeah, like, I love that you can just choose. You can just choose what. And the biggest thing, I could never play evil. I couldn't.
Never could. I tried one Renegade.
I tried bad.
One Renegade playthrough, and I felt too bad. 2 hours in, I stopped playing, and I rebooted. I was strict Paragon.
It's so hard to not feel bad for the NPCs, man. One of the most memorable ones was playing through all of Mass Effect 2 and beating it for the very first time.
Just booting up the first one, or just that very simple, ominous music is playing.
Yeah, music is so good. Music is so good.
So those are.
I think that's about it. Yeah.
Those are 5 games that we wish we could play again for the first time. Let us know what y'all's favorite games are. What games you wish you could play again for the first time.
Did you grow up in our era?
Our era?
09?
Before?
10?
Older? You know, are you a late 90s baby like us, or are you cool? Let us know. Anyways, video games are cool, and so are you.